Super Mario 64 is the first video game I ever played as a child. The year was 2000 and I was 2 years old when my father brought home the legendary Nintendo 64 Pikachu edition. Now of course, I can hardly remember this as I was just a toddler. I mean, I probably just ran into walls continuously, but nonetheless, the N64 was the only console I had for a while, so most of my childhood years from 2 to 8 were filled with Mario 64, Mario Kart 64, Diddy Kong Racing, and a couple of other games, which unfortunately included Superman. So I wanted to make this video and just go over some of the reasons why Super Mario 64 is still one of my favorite games of all time. Now, let's talk about the beginning of the game. When you first boot up the game, you're met with Mario's cheerful face, and I always used to spend hours just playing around and pulling Mario's face on the title screen. That little feature right at the beginning of the game is so pointless, yet so fun. Anyways, once you start a new file, you're greeted with a letter from the princess, which reads, "Dear Mario, please come to the castle. I've baked a cake for you. Yours truly, Princess Toadstool Peach." So, Mario decides he wants some of Peach's cake, if you know what I mean, and after Lakitu's little flight cutscene, Mario jumps out of the pipe in the castle's front yard. The front yard is an excellent place to get used to the controls. There's a lot of open space to run around in, water where you can practice swimming, and trees where you can practice climbing. Also, if you play around enough in the courtyard, you learn that you can get 1-up mushrooms if you climb up certain trees. There is also a cannon out here too, but it's barred off. It left me wondering how to open it for hours as a kid, but alas, the cannon won't come into play until much later in the game. So, you head to the bridge that leads to the front door of the castle when Lakitu swoops down in front of you to give you some tips on how to play the game. Then, you race into the castle where you are once again stopped. You hear Bowser's laugh, and a message appears on the screen saying, "Welcome, no one's home, now scram, and don't come back, gwahaha." This tells us that Bowser has once again kidnapped Peach. Shocking. After that distraction, you can finally look around the castle. There are many doors, most of which have stars on them. You realize you can only enter 3 of the doors, and 2 of them only lead to a locked basement door and another door that leads to an empty courtyard. So, you go back into the door that has a star on it with no number and hop into the first level. Now, I want to discuss some of the different levels, enemies, and power-ups you can find in the game. So, whenever you hop into a painting, a menu shows up that tells you the name of each level, as well as the name of the star you're about to collect. The name of the star gives you a hint on how to collect it, or just downright tells you how to get it. In every course, there are 6 stars to collect, plus a castle secret star from collecting 100 coins. There are also other secret stars hidden throughout the castle. In total, there are 15 courses in all, not including the Bowser courses or the other secret star courses. The levels in order are Bob-omb Battlefield, Womp's Fortress, Jolly Roger Bay, Cool Cool Mountain, Big Boo's Haunt, Hazy Maze Cave, Lethal Lava Land, Shifting Sandlands, Dire Docks, Snowman's Land, Wet Dry World, Tall Tall Mountain, Tiny Huge Island, Tick-Tock Clock, and Rainbow Ride. From the mountainous Bob-omb Battlefield to the hellish Lethal Lava Land, each level is pretty unique in presentation, and in goals you have to achieve to collect stars. As I said before, each level has a secret star within it if you collect 100 coins. In a similar vein, each level also contains a red coin star, in which you have to collect 8 red coins scattered throughout the level. Once you collect 8 red coins, a star will appear in a designated area marked by a translucent blue star on the ground. There are also stars within the game that serve the purpose of teaching you certain gameplay mechanics, like in Bob-omb Battlefield for example. The first star on the level, called Big Bob-omb on the Summit, has Mario run through the level and up the mountain, where the King Bob-omb is standing and waiting for you. You must then conduct battle with him. He moves very slow, but if you allow him to grab Mario, he will spin around a bit and then toss Mario. If you are close enough to the edge of the mountain, he can actually throw you off the side, making it so you have to run all the way back up just to battle him again. What you have to do to beat him is run around to his backside and then hit the B button to pick him up. Once Mario has picked up the Bob-omb King, you can now throw him to the ground, making the King take damage. However, don't have any ideas about throwing him off the side of the mountain. If you do, he will fall, but immediately jump back up to the top of the mountain and says, "You must fight with honor. It is against the royal rules to throw the king out of the ring." This will reset the fight. Anyways, all it takes is 3 throws, and the Bob-omb King is down for the count. I believe that this star is a sort of training level to help prepare you for fighting Bowser, as it's really similar to how you have to fight him. However, I will talk about Bowser later, as I want to talk about some of the other stars first. There are also stars that require you to use cannons to shoot to certain areas where the star is located, such as in Bob-omb Battlefield to get the star shoot to the island in the sky, or in Whomp's Fortress to get the star blast away the wall and shoot into the wild blue. There are a couple other stars obtained in this manner as well. There are also stars in the game that require you to have the right power-up caps unlocked, such as Mario Wings to the Sky and Eye to Eye in the secret room. Anyways, I could spend all day talking about the different ways you can get stars in this game, so now I want to move on to the different kinds of power-ups. There are several power-ups throughout the game which come from different caps you can collect. The first cap you obtain is the Wing Cap. To get the Wing Cap, you must first collect 10 stars. Once you do, head out into the castle's main room where you'll see a big ray of light coming down from the ceiling onto the picture of the sun on the ground. Now, just stand on the sun, look up into the beam of light, and you'll be transported into a secret level in the sky. There are towers, rainbows, and a big red switch here. There is also a castle secret star here if you collect all 8 red coins. Anyways, once you press the big red switch, all of the red blocks in all of the levels will become solid. When Mario obtains the Wing Cap from one of the red blocks, it allows him to fly if you perform a triple jump. If you want more height and speed, you can hop into a cannon and shoot Mario out, sending him sky high. The Wing Cap is necessary to get multiple stars, including some secret stars. The Wing Cap will only last 1 minute before you have to collect a new one. Now, the next power-up is the Vanish Cap. To obtain the Vanish Cap, you must first make your way to the basement, then ground pound the 2 pillars to drain the castle moat. Once you accomplish this task, you can head out the rusty door and travel to the right of the moat, where there is a square hole in the ground. Jump in and complete the secret level to get the blue switch at the end of the course. If you gather the 8 red coins along the way, you'll also get another castle secret star. The Vanish Cap will turn Mario invisible, and he will be unable to take damage from enemy attacks. He will also have the ability to walk through certain walls. This power is required to get multiple stars, including stars from Big Boo's Haunt and Dire Dire Docks. The Vanish Cap will only last for 20 seconds. Now, last but not least for the caps, there's the Metal Cap. To get this cap, the player must travel to the Hazy Maze Cave in the castle's basement. Once inside the level, you go down to the pond where Dory lives, get on Dory's back, then hop up to her head. Now that you're on her head, steer her towards the rusty double doors, jump over to the doors and enter. Go through the hallway, where at the end you'll find a miniature version of the painting that you jumped into to enter Hazy Maze Cave. Hop into it to enter another secret level. Don't fall into the river here. If you do, you will exit the level and Mario will be spat out of the waterfall in the castle's courtyard. All you do is run over to the green switch and hit it. Again, there are red coins here to get another castle secret star. The Metal Cap will turn Mario into Metal Mario. Metal Mario is unable to be damaged by enemies, and can even defeat enemies just by running into them. Due to Metal Mario becoming much heavier, the player is unable to swim with the Metal Cap on. Instead, Mario will just walk on the floor underwater. The toxic gas in Hazy Maze Cave is also unable to harm Metal Mario. The Metal Cap is also required to collect certain stars in the game. Similar to the Vanish Cap, the Metal Cap will only last for 20 seconds. Now, while not a cap, you can also collect a shiny shell in some of the levels. They are obtained either by hitting a yellow block or jumping on a Koopa's head. Mario rides the shell like a skateboard, and can kill enemies by ramming into them. He also gains the ability to ride over quicksand, lava, and water. The shiny shell will last forever unless the player hits a wall or crouches. However, there is one weird shiny shell you can get in Jolly Roger Bay. It's near the beginning of the level, inside one of the clams. Touching this shell will do nothing, you have to grab it using the B button. Once Mario grabs a hold of the shell, he will propel forward at a speed slightly faster than Mario's normal swimming. But after a short time the shell will just disappear. It ultimately serves no purpose in the level, and isn't even worth collecting in my opinion. Now that's all for the power-ups, unless you want to consider the 1-up mushrooms a power-up. Anyways, now I want to skim over some of the enemies. There are plenty of enemies roaming around each level, most of which have made appearances in other Super Mario games, such as Goombas, Bob-ombs, Boos, Piranha Plants, Koopa Troopas, Spinies, Fly Guys, Lakitus, Whomps, Thwomps, and Swoops, just to name a few. Of course, you can jump on these enemies like normal, but it's much more satisfying to punch a Goomba in the face, or kick it in the face. Anyways, there are also some pretty unique enemies in Mario 64, such as bullies, spindles, grindles, and others. Now, I want to go over some of the more memorable enemies in the game. One of my favorite enemies is the Heave Hose, which can only be found in the level Wet Dry World. They look like little wind-up toys, and they will launch Mario if you stand on his little scooper thing. My absolute least favorite enemy of the game has to be the Mad Piano, found in the level Big Boo's Haunt. That thing has terrified me since I was a little kid. My first time meeting this monstrosity will forever be burned into my mind. I remember I was doing the red coin mission for Big Boo's Haunt. I was looking for the 8th red coin when I finally saw it behind the dreaded piano. I never had any reason to go near it before, and I thought it was just a decoration. But once I got close enough to it, my heart dropped as the piano moved towards me, opening and closing its cover, which had jagged teeth inside. All the while, an awful sound of smashing keys was blasting through my TV speakers. I've hated that thing ever since, and still try to avoid it. I also used to be afraid of Unagi the eel in Jolly Roger Bay. However, now that I've grown up, I kind of find it cute for some reason. I love the way he lunges out of his cave with his mouth open as he looks around. Maybe I'm alone in this, but I find him adorable. Moving on to an enemy I just find kind of annoying is Klepto. This bird annoyed the heck out of me as a kid. Once you take his power star out of his claws, he will swoop down at Mario and try to steal the hat off his head. Without his hat, Mario will actually take more damage than normal, so you have to retrieve your hat in the same way you retrieved the power star. There are more enemies in the game, but for the sake of time, I'm going to move on to other characters in the game. NPCs, I guess? There are multiple toads that can be found throughout the castle. Most of them will tell you tutorial stuff, but a couple of them will actually give you castle secret stars. In some of the levels, there are pink bob-ombs called bob-omb buddies. Most of them will open the cannon of whatever level you're on, but there is one in Bob-omb Battlefield that will tell you about the war going on there. Now, I don't know if this counts, but up next is Ukiki the monkey. I love this little guy. Even though he steals Mario's hat just like Klepto, Ukiki gets a pass in my book because of how adorable he is. Also, he helps you get the star Mystery of the Monkey Cage in Tall Tall Mountain. Another character I think is cute is Dory. He's just so adorable. I never ground pound to make him lower his head. Instead, I always do a side jump so I don't have to. The last NPC type character I can think of is Koopa the Quick. He's an absolutely massive Koopa, but he doesn't want to fight you, he just wants to race. Quick will challenge you twice throughout the game. The first time is in Bob-omb Battlefield, where you race him from the beginning of the level to the top of the mountain where the King Bob-omb once stood. The second time he wants to race is in Tiny Huge Island. This time around, the race is much shorter, but the path is more difficult to traverse, and Quick is slightly faster than he was before. Moving on, let's now talk about the bosses. The first boss you face in the game is King Bob-omb, but I already talked about him earlier though, so let's skip him. Next up is King Womp, found in the level Womp's Fortress. He resides at the top of the fortress, and once you get there, he's pretty easy to fight. He moves very slowly and attacks by trying to fall down on Mario when you get too close. Right before you fight King Womp, on the pathway leading up to him, there are two normal-sized Womps, which is the perfect level setup, because once you know how to fight those, you pretty much know how to fight King Womp. When King Womp starts to fall, just dodge him, jump up to his back, and then ground pound him. Do this 3 times and you win. There's also a glitch where if you jump right as a Womp, or King Womp starts to fall over, you go right through their body. You can use this exploit to beat them a bit faster. The next boss I want to talk about is Big Boo, in the level Big Boo's Haunt. You meet him during the first star mission of Big Boo's Haunt, Go on a Ghost Hunt. To get to Big Boo, you must first run around the haunted mansion, hunting down all the Boos throughout the level. You can beat the Boos by either punching their backs, or ground pounding on top of their heads. After you defeat all the Boos in the mansion, Big Boo will appear in the mansion's main room. You fight him the same way you fight the normal Boos, but this time it will take 3 hits instead of 1. You also have to fight Big Boo for a second time during the star Big Boo's Balcony. The fight is the same, but you have to do it up on the mansion's balcony. Shocker. There's also actually another boss in the level Big Boo's Haunt. His name is Big Mr. Eye, and you fight him for the star Eye to Eye in the secret room. To get to him, you first have to grab a Vanish Cap, then run to the Boo painting in the attic and jump through it. To take down Big Mr. I, just run in circles around him, just like the regular Mr. I's. Now, the next boss of the game is the Big Bully in Lethal Lava Land. You fight him for 2 stars in Lethal Lava Land, Boil the Big Bully, and Bully the Bullies. The way you fight the Big Bully is the same as fighting the small bullies, just punch or kick them into the lava. The only difference is that because of the Big Bully's size, he's harder to hit into the lava, and when he rams into you, it knocks you back farther than the normal bullies. The first time you fight him, he's alone on an island near the back of the stage. The second time you fight him is on the island right next to the first one, but this time you have to fight 3 smaller bullies before the Big Bully appears. The next boss is I-Rock in Shifting Sandlands. You fight I-Rock for the star Stand Tall on the 4 pillars. As the title of the star suggests, there are 4 big pillars in the level that Mario must stand on top of. Once you accomplish that task, the top of the pyramid will come off while spinning into the air. Then it explodes. Mario must then make his way to the top of the pyramid to discover a hole that you must jump down into. You land inside a cage in the pyramid, which lowers down to the big red rectangle thing in the middle of the quicksand. Enter this rectangle thing to get to the boss room. Now, at first, everything seems to be normal in this room. That is, until you try to walk up the stairs. When you do, the stairs move and reveal themselves to be 2 big stone hands, with eyes in the center of their palms. This is I-Rock. Fighting I-Rock isn't super difficult, but it is a bit harder than all the bosses that came before him in my opinion. I-Rock will try to hit and push Mario off the edges of the platform. The only way to damage I-Rock is by punching the eye in the middle of their palms while it's open. It takes 3 hits on each eye to defeat them. Now, let's talk about the Chill Bully found in Snowman's Land. You fight him for the star Chill with the Bully. There isn't much to say about this battle considering it's pretty much the same as the Big Bully fight, but this time, it's in a Winter Wonderland setting rather than the hellscape that is Lethal Lava Land. Moving on, we're going to talk about Wiggler in Tiny Huge Island. I want to go on a small tangent here and say that I always loved Tiny Huge Island. It was a really cool callback to the giant levels in Super Mario Bros. 3. Anyways, most players probably recognize Wiggler from his appearance in Super Mario World. You fight him to get the star Make Wiggler Squirm. To find him, enter the small painting so Mario will be huge compared to the island. Then, make your way up to the top of the island, where there's a small pool of water. Ground pound in the middle of the pool, and the water will drain out. Go to one of the pipes in the level, and hop in to make the island huge. Go back to the top of the mountain, and jump into the hole that drained all of the water out. You will land inside the mountain, and greeting you is an angry Wiggler. Wiggler is mad that you drenched his dwelling space by draining the pond on top of the mountain. His fight is pretty easy, he just runs around trying to knock into Mario. Just jump and then ground pound on him. After each hit, he will get angrier and faster. It only takes 3 hits to finally defeat him. Beating Wiggler will cause him to calm down, and then for some reason he shrinks down to a tiny size. Now, the final boss there is to talk about is, of course, the king of the Koopas himself, Bowser. Now, I know you fight him before some of the bosses are already listed, but I felt it made more sense to save him as a finale to the boss section of this video. The first time you can fight Bowser is in the level Bowser in the Darkness. This level is set in a dark, dingy, greenish cave. You need 8 power stars to access this level. Make your way through this level collecting 8 red coins along the way to get another castle secret star. Once you get to the end of the level, hop into the pipe and prepare yourself for your first run-in with Bowser. Bowser has the ability to shoot fire, and his fire will linger on the ground for a bit after he shoots it. As I said earlier, the way you beat him is very similar to how you beat King Babam. Just run behind Bowser and grab his tail using the B button. Unlike with King Babam, you don't just throw Bowser, first you have to gain momentum by spinning the joystick in circles, making Mario spin Bowser around. Once you have enough momentum, throw Bowser by pressing the B button again. However, throwing him off the stage won't hurt him. He will just jump back up from the abyss, and when he lands, he sends out a shockwave that will stun Mario for a second. To avoid the shockwave, just jump right as Bowser lands. Anyways, what you're supposed to do is throw Bowser at the right time so he hits one of the spiky bombs surrounding his arena. Once you do this, you've defeated Bowser for the first time. When you beat him, he drops a key that will unlock a door to the basement. To enter the basement's Bowser stage, Bowser in the Fire Sea, you must collect 30 Power Stars and collect the first star from Dire Docks, board Bowser's sub. Completing this task will allow entrance to Bowser in the Fire Sea. This time, Bowser's stage is a lava-ridden level, similar to Lethal Lava Land. Once again, there is an 8 red coin star here. Make your way to the end of the level to reach this big teal funnel ring thingy. Jumping in will transport you to the second Bowser fight. This time around, Bowser has some new abilities. Of course, he can still breathe fire, but now he can also jump to tilt the entire arena. He can also teleport. Once again, just grab his tail, swing him around, and throw him into one of the bombs. He still only takes 1 hit to defeat. Upon his defeat, he will drop another key. This key unlocks the door that leads to the castle's upper floor. Finally, the final Bowser fight requires you to gain 70 Power Stars. If you have less than 70 Power Stars, you'll be stuck in an ever-looping staircase. But if you have 70 or more Power Stars, the game will let you make it to the top of the stairs, where you'll find the level Bowser in the Sky. As the title suggests, this level is set in the sky. The clouds are shades of purple and red, and the whole place just comes off as menacing. Making your way through the level will get you to the final pipe of the game. In the windy area right before the pipe, there are pillars that have pixel art of Mario fighting Bowser. Just a cool little Easter egg I wanted to bring up. Anyways, now just hop into the pipe for the final face-off with Bowser. The music here is awesome, and it really sets the stage for the epic battle that's about to ensue. Bowser is multicolored and just looks badass. Not only does he look badass, he has some new abilities. His flame breath is stronger, and he will sometimes breathe out blue fire, and now he can charge towards Mario. Again, just grab his tail like the last 2 times and throw him at a bomb. However, this time he takes more than 1 hit to defeat, so grab him by his tail and throw him for a second time. This time Bowser gets back up and stomps his feet, causing the stage to become the shape of a star. This makes the fight more difficult, not only because the stage is smaller, but because you can't get as close to the bombs anymore. So, just grab Bowser one last time, and with a bit of luck and a bit of skill, throw him at a bomb for the final time. Once you defeat Bowser, he will give you a monologue. However, Bowser will give you a different message depending on if you've collected all the Power Stars in the game. Anyways, Bowser leaves behind a massive Power Star. Collect it, and Mario will gain a wing cap and fly to the outside of the castle where Princess Peach and the Toads come out of the stained glass portrait in the front of the castle. Peach gives Mario a kiss on his nose, and they go inside to make the cake Mario was promised at the beginning of the game. The credits roll, and one of the best ending themes of all time starts playing. Playing this game through again was a wonderful experience, and one that I've had many times before in my life. It gives me the ultimate feeling of nostalgia, with its super memorable soundtrack, charming visuals, and fluent controls. Mario 64 came out at the beginning of the 3D gaming era, and while it wasn't the first 3D game, it was kind of the first game to get a 3D platformer right. And it set in place so many of Mario's abilities, and was even the first game where Mario got his iconic voice. If you've never played Mario 64 before, I highly recommend it, and even if you have, give it another playthrough, you won't regret it. Anyways, this has been Astral Antonio. Let me know if there's any way I can improve and make these videos better. Hope you stick around for the next one. Stay tuned. Thanks.